Well, today is Veterans Day, and about 6,000 veterans die by suicide each year in the United States. And experts at a Jacksonville military clinic have some tips for veterans' mental health and how you can help. All Your Side's Don White has the details for us.
The biggest thing for most people is that connection and being able to connect with other veterans or their friends.
Retired U.S. Army combat veteran and current military spouse Liz Schur counsels post 9/11 veterans at the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic in Jacksonville, where veterans can get that connection. She says veterans may want to seek help if they notice these symptoms.
Some of the things are isolation, if they find themselves increasingly isolated or not participating in activities that they may have recently or previously enjoyed, sporting, spending time with family.
Schur says family members of veterans should reach out if they notice depression, unexplained sadness, or this.
Maybe some unexplained anger, agitation, less patience that they may have with their family members or children.
The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs reports 22% of veterans seek help for their mental health, and up to 20% of combat veterans have PTSD. Retired Brigadier General Michael Fleming served in the U.S. Marine Corps and the Florida Army National Guard, and also works at the clinic.
If it's an immediate situation, there's a veterans crisis line to be called. But if they're just noticing something gradually, our clinic can be called, the VA, any number of sources.
In Jacksonville, Don White, First Coast News, on your side.